There are many vitamins that are discussed in the chapter, and in previous semesters I've gone over them all, and it just was a long, laborious presentation, so instead I'm just going to look at a few key ones with you. So vitamins are organic and they're essential for survival. They're classified as water and fat soluble. They're cofactors for chemical reactions and necessary for homeostasis. And vitamins are found naturally in beautiful vegetables, and here's a nice picture. Vitamins are catalysts, which means that they're necessary for metabolic processes, and we consume them in our diet except for two, and the first one being vitamin D, and the second being vitamin K. Vitamin K we synthesize in our intestines. It takes a while for deficiencies to develop, and depending on the type of vitamin, excess can lead to toxicity, and in some cases we have provitamins converted to active form, and that occurs actually quite a few times. Beta carotene to vitamin A is a good example. Fat-soluble vitamins are those that are required to be transported with fats. The excess is stored in fat tissues of the body and more likely to have toxicity. The water-soluble are obviously soluble in water. They're not stored, and we can still overconsume them. Fat-soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K, and are primarily our B vitamins, and vitamin C are our water-soluble. This is the figure 6 from the textbook, which is a nice overview of vitamins. Note that vitamin B are necessary for energy production, and I think that this is a nice way to look at it. I'm also going to show you another table, which is a little bit different. So here is the list that's necessary or real beneficial for athletes, and here we have the RDA, and it lists what the primary benefits. So it's just a different way of looking at it, which you'll see as we're going to look at a little bit more in detail. Vitamin C is necessary for collagen formation. We'll look at vitamin D and not so much look at vitamin B during this presentation in as much depth as what the textbook has. So the B vitamins are found in a lot of products, and we often we're encouraged to take more B vitamins. The B vitamins do not provide energy. Supplements will say will give you energy. They do not. They aid in the production of converting macronutrients to energy. And we find our B vitamins in lots of food, and I'm going to suggest that variety is our friend here. Vitamin C is necessary for connective tissue. Real briefly, this particular study was done in Shaw's lab. They wanted to investigate if vitamin C enriched supplement that had some specific amino acids would improve synthesis. In the athletes, it was a small number, it was only 8. The drink was consumed every 30 minutes, an hour before exercise was performed, and they performed exercise throughout this consumption period, and they evaluated the collagen synthesis, and they found that the combination of the vitamin C and the amino acids was better than placebo. So it just indicates that vitamin C is really important for the building of the connective tissue along with the important amino acids. Vitamin D is either consumed in enriched foods or it's obtained from the sun. And the vitamin D3 is converted to 25-OHD in the liver. And this is the marker of vitamin D status. Now, ultimately, this 25-OHD or calcidiol goes to the kidneys and it's converted to its active form. The active form is going to be recognized or can act at bones for calcium uptake, and also it communicates with the parathyroid gland. How we obtain a marker of vitamin D status is by evaluating this calcidiol. The marker it's a serum value, and it is broken down into or interpreted by deficient, insufficient, or sufficient, and actually optimal values. The reason why we use 25-OHD is because the half-life of it is 3 weeks, where the half-life of the active vitamin D is just hours. So we have a good marker, a serum marker, which is really helpful. Vitamin D is important for cardiovascular function, inflammation, bone health, fatigue, and why I mention fatigue and muscle function, forgot to mention that, is because one of the first things that you experience with vitamin D deficiency is a fatigue and muscle weakness. So if an individual has suboptimal vitamin D, the muscle pain weakness is going to be something that someone might experience, and also that generalized fatigue. But we also have other links based upon the role of vitamin D in normal health. Individuals that have some sort of history might benefit from vitamin D status evaluation or assessment. Here is the vitamin D assessment, and again, this is the serum 25-OHD. It is the non-active form, but it has it's a better indicator because it has a longer look at how somebody's status is over a period of time. And so the value is going to be, this value can give an idea of whether or not a person needs supplementation. If vitamin D status isn't known, this is an example of a decision tree that can be used. So here you have at the very top, if somebody has limited sun exposure, and that could be during the winter time, or if you're in a winter state where we don't get enough sun. If they're not limited and they're outside and their skin is exposed, even just the face, likely no need for supplementation. If you are limited, then you look next at, does the individual have dark skin? If it's yes, then you go down to the next one. That's when can you test? If you can't, consider a supplement. If you can test, then you can have a better idea of whether or not a person does need supplementation. So that's a potential way that you can get an idea. The amount that a person should take is 600 IU is the RDA, which we know is our recommended daily allowance. You can take 2,000 to 4,000 per day, but not more than that. The consequence of toxicity of vitamin D is excess calcium in the blood, which can cause nausea, vomiting, weakness, and frequent urination. And over a period of time, it can progress to bone pain, kidney issues, and kidney stones. This figure has an indication of the vitamin D status of different athletes in the sunny months at the top and during the winter months at the bottom. And you'll see that in the winter months, athletes that tend to be at greater risk ballet, gymnasts, gymnasts and runners, if they're running inside, they're going to be at greater risk. The athletes in the summer, as long as they're getting some skin exposure, they're less likely to have an issue. And quickly, antioxidants, let's look at those real quick. Antioxidants and free radicals. Free radicals are normal byproducts or normal products of metabolic processes, and they're also obtained from the environment, so say somebody's running out in pollution. Free radicals are highly reactive because they lack an unpaired electron, and these electrons are hunting for completion. The free radicals can cause destruction to other cells and can be involved in the development of cancer, cardiovascular disease, or other diseases. These free radicals can sometimes include oxygen and be referred to as reactive oxidative species, or ROS. Now, the production of these free radicals increases during exercise because we have oxidative processes, and the body is typically capable of handling these, and as a person trains, the handling processes actually improve. So as a person produces more free radicals, the handling mechanism of these free radicals is a training response and improves. Now, vitamin A, C, and E are protective, and vitamin E, how they do it is they donate an electron and they reduce the damage capacity of these free radicals, so they don't damage DNA, they don't damage other cells. And so let's think about, instead of a supplement, getting foods that have these vitamins of A, C, and E in our diet. And that helps us to be able to neutralize these free radicals. Another component at the end of the chapter is basically the encouragement of eating whole foods. Phytochemicals are plant substances that are not vitamins, but they're associated with beneficial risk, decreasing the risk of cancers and other cardiovascular disease and other diseases. And where we get these phytochemicals are from whole foods, primarily our fruits, vegetables, and grains. There are phytochemicals that have phenol, and that would be grapes, wine, or grape juice. Grape juice is another great way of getting it, and you don't have to have a big dose. Teas like green teas. We have organosulfides, and these are in our cruciferous vegetables. That would be broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, garlic, and onions. And these particular phytochemicals are good anti-cancer agents. Lycopene is a carotenoid, which is a pre-vitamin A, and it is really important for anti-cancer, and specifically men. You can get it in tomato and tomato products. Low sugar tomato ketchup is a way. So we know that individuals that have particularly in men, getting those carotenoids on daily have a decreased risk of a variety of cancers. How can you increase your phytochemicals? Well, this is going to be a matter of looking for foods that have these characteristics, these benefits. And so green tea, if you have never tried grapes in the freezer, especially in the summer, throwing red or green grapes in the refrigerator or the freezer, and they're like little ice cubes. They're super tasty. Having tomato sauces and tomatoes in your meals, having nuts, using garlic, really easy ways. And finally, changing your milk, having some nut milks. There's cashew milk, almond milk, soy milk, whole grains. Use different grains like bulgur, barley, or oats. And also try to increase your fruit consumption. So that's vitamins, and I think you'll be able to read the remainder components about the details in your textbook.